What's up guys, Ash here, and today of course we're talking about Ray's Alchemist. This class is absolutely nuts in that it is the largest toolkit of any class in the entire game. Ray can do it all from damage dealing to healing to providing utility like Overcharge and Rampage to other characters. It's just totally insane and such a neat class to play with. Let's take a look.
At a high-level overview, Ray's Alchemist plays as a hybrid range support, offering a mix of damage and healing. It's probably the only other character in the game that was intended to be a healer of sorts, although I don't think it's quite on par with the dedicated healers such as Anne's White Mage. At the core of Alchemist is Make Chemical Concoction, a buff that will cost 10 vigor per turn to give you stacks of unstable chemical concoction, which I'll refer to the rest of the video as UCC because there's no way I'm going to keep saying that over and over. You can think of UCC as very similar to Concentrated Magic Power, also known as CMP from Battle Mage. Stacking UCC and then attacking will turn the stacks into raw damage at a bonus of 20% damage per stack. And you better believe that this damage can get out of hand very quickly. Here's a quick diagram of how to generate stacks in their shortened versions. If you synthesize, you'll be getting that at the start of turn, which is basically just a guaranteed. If you're moving, you'll be activating distributing. If you're blending, you'll be attacking, just not throwing. And then if you're sloshing, that's when you're being attacked. And similar to CMP, these values can be increased via Alchemy Mastery sets. Stacking UCC can have a devastating consequence. Here we're on 50 Violent Cruel Challenge, and we're at the Dalsu pack. We're going to go ahead and buff up with Trance here, and we're going to take a shot. And you guys can see I'm at 10 stacks of UCC, which is approximately 200% damage increase. And she kills the entire pack to include Dalsu, who, by the way, at the current moment is one of the highest armored human targets in the game at almost 2,000 armor, right up there with Zhao Zai. And you can see she just totally mowed them down, and it's just crazy. This kind of damage is Grenadier-like, but only for the first turn where she has stacks of UCC. Further chain killing will not have the same bonuses, and this can take a bit of getting used to, especially from a playstyle perspective. Unlike Battle Mage's CMP, there is no way to restore used stacks of UCC, but even at 5 stacks, you know, that's 100% damage bonus. At 10 stacks, it's 200% damage bonus. And that's how you get results like this. Just totally insane. On top of UCC, using Make Chemical Concoction can force malfunctions and side effects from potions. In this particular instance, you can see Hazing's kind of a little bit low on vigor. He is playing Sweeper, and Sweeper is arguably the most vigor-intensive class in the entire game. Using Make Chemical Concoction and then using Excitement Potion in this instance will force an Overcharge. And forcing an Overcharge will actually do two different things. For starters, I mean, obviously, he's going to be able to use any amount of vigor that he wants, but on top of that, of course, he'll have access to his special abilities. And with Red and Black, or Schwartz and Blood, right here in a line, this, of course, is a perfect time to use Annihilation Shot. This part of Alchemist makes it very different than a lot of the other classes. You know, Ray is actually able to play a true support character where, you know, yeah, she could add in some damage, she can heal, but she can add utility even to other characters that you wouldn't normally see and wouldn't be how we would normally think of in terms of, you know, just pure damage and how fast do they kill. Instead, she's supporting the characters that kill in ways that are just amazing, like this right here. So on top of Ray's incredible damage and incredible utility support, of course, she can heal as well. You know, subbing in for Anne on White Mage, this is pretty cool. And, you know, this is where her sprays really come in handy. And you may not use these as much on Grenadier. And they get a lot more AT reduction on Alchemist. And so, you know, right here we obviously have Litan. He's low health. Looks like he's got poison and silence and stuff. So he's probably shot by a ranger at some point here. And what's neat here is that with high purity healing potion, she's going to have first aid that removes physical debuffs. And then on top of that, it's going to actually replace them with buffs. So not only is Litan going to go from 100 to full, he's also going to gain luck just from receiving the heal from her. It's pretty crazy, and of course, you can also see it's triggering enough rest, so he's getting even more AT reduction. So of course, for single target healing, then you'll want to use Ray sprays. But for area healing, she can actually use Healing Mist to heal an entire party, and to include herself into this, which is pretty awesome. Healing Mist does a ton of things, and I'm probably going to forget some of everything in this part of the chapter because there's so much going on in even a small instance like this. So here's Healing Mist. It is going to give you the immunity to headshot. It's going to count as a smoke screen. So this is particularly good for the back row where you want to get immunity to headshot from a Thought or snipers and stuff like that. It's particularly good for the front row because you'll be triggering a heal as well as regeneration. Regeneration is a sustained healing buff that will help heal on turn. And what's really neat is, of course, everyone is going to get this regeneration all at the exact same time that gets hit by it, but also people that walk through it will also get regeneration. And so I believe this stays up for 240 AT like most smoke screens do. But on top of that, it's also going to trigger all of Ray's first aid capabilities as well. So if you notice, Heizing currently has a bleeding debuff, I believe it is, on him. And of course, this is going to remove it, but just imagine it's going to remove an entire area's worth. So very similar to Anne's ability to remove many debuffs in kind of a, an area location. Ray can do that as well. It's just slightly different. That's all. So of course it's going to do area heal. It's not going to be as strong as the full health heal, but again, it's going to put on that regeneration, which will be great for going forward. On top of that, you can see, so Hazing does have that debuff. It's going to get cleared, replaced then by an actual buff, which is Blessing of the Earth. And then on top of that, you're actually going to get AT reduction, and this is actually from quite a few things. So notice Hazing is currently at 13 AT before this happens, right? And so when she goes to actually heal him, she's going to trigger a few things. One, Hazing is running enough rest, so that's going to help as well. But she's also going to trigger Arms Alchemy Set 3. And so this is going to give you AT reduction to anybody that you heal with Ray, to include herself. So you can see Hazing's at 13 AT, Elise is at 1, and now Hazing is going to skip straight to the front of the line. And you can see all the AT going off of here. It's pretty crazy, and there's just so much going on in the background. It's difficult for even me to explain, but you can see how much is happening just from a very basic heal that they didn't even really need. But you can still push your party forward or push a character forward just from healing with Ray. And if you thought that the kit couldn't get any bigger, there's still plenty more that Alchemist has to offer. It's pretty silly. So Ray is going to get access to a mastery called Shaking. And this is going to actually unlock your Shaking Shot features found on their specific spray cans. This will activate every 4 attacks, and this will give you enhanced damage as well as features that you would find on their grenade counterparts. So right here I have a wind pressure spray, which will act like a wind pressure grenade would. Not only will it do knockback, you can do knockback into walls. Knocking back into walls will cause stuns. She'll clear webbing and mist. So right here you see, that entire area gets cleared there. And it's neat, but it's primarily used for its damage bonus and area bonus. And it's just another toy in her kit, and her kit is really massive. This is honestly one of the more complicated classes to play in this game, because the true test of a good alchemist would be, what are you using on that current turn for that immediate moment. Additionally, Rei has not lost Trance, which is one of the best abilities in this entire game. You can see she's already in Trance right now, and because of her incredible cooldown reduction, Trance is actually back up. So you could spray Rain and then go right back into it in certain points of combat. Pretty crazy, and you can see the Trance stacking at the bottom left there. So she's at 4 turns, and now she's at 5 turns, and each individual continuation of these kills just expands it more and more. One of the reasons why I really recommend one shot, one kill, even on a support class like for Rei, because it just synergizes better, and you'll just get so much more use out of her class as a whole using one shot, one kill, and just being able to do more actions in general. Alchemist's class mastery is called Equivalent Exchange, and this has a lot of varied uses. You can certainly use it for farming. This is great material farming on 44 Violent here. So we're on 44 Violent, and it's going to take any materials that come in and basically convert them. And you can see right there the conversions that are going on. So where you would normally get like some green Draki broken bone and stuff like that, you can turn it into epic evil monster skin or monster claws. You'd be even this Draki bone right here turned into crab mitt leather, which previously to the DLC, this was absolutely impossible. It's very strange, and there's a lot that goes into this. So for starters, Equivalent Exchange will happen 25% of the time, and change that acquired loot into a random item of a similar type, and then gain a random buff for doing so. This leads to really silly things. If you guys look down here in the bottom left, she's running 4, almost 5 rows of buffs at this moment while she's doing all these conversions, and it's just a crazy ability. You can improve it with Passion for Gold. That'll increase the chance of activating Equivalent Exchange by 50%. You can improve it with Arm's Alchemy Spray, which will increase the number of materials that you gain by 25%. You can even kind of improve it in that if you increase drop rate chances, such as using food, overkill, death blow. This is really good for farming materials, and I think in the future I'll be doing a farming guide that will incorporate this. So I used some of this footage in the Grenadier video, and it still holds true even for Alchemist, even if she isn't on the actual class when this happens. Rei is tied for the highest bonding slots in the entire game. This means that basically everybody loves Rei, and if you have them assigned with Pincer, you're going to see stuff like this where basically the whole party is just going to jump on things. It's pretty wild, and it should never be underestimated. Especially in strategy games like this, bondings are very important. On top of that, of course, Rei will be running her personal mastery, Graffiti, and you can see Graffiti's dispelling acceleration, it's dispelling rage, so she'll remove any kind of buffs that a target is using. Obviously this has good use on the acceleration and rage portion of crabs, but also has incredible use on bosses like Boris and Wei, who get peace or concentration or some nonsense like that. But you can see, Rei gets the party started and everyone wants a piece. And this is really good for team tactics. Alright, and we have the abilities overview for Alchemist. Rei is so weird. So your basic attack ability will not be shown because this is given to you by your spray can choice as in your weapon. Very strange, very odd. I'm not entirely sure why they did this, but I'm sure there's a reason. On top of that, so Rei's spray slots are far more useful in Alchemist, as you'll be running things like Skillful Support, which will reduce AT cast delay by 50%. So, on Grenadier, this would be a 30 AT increase, and a lot of people avoid using sprays on Grenadier. Very different for Alchemist. My problem is that you lose a spray slot when switching from Alchemist versus Grenadier. Grenadier actually has 2 slots, and on the class that can use it more often, they dropped it down to 1. I'll never understand why they did this, and this falls into that same category of Liton losing Taunt when switching from Superstar to Martial Artist. I don't know, man. I don't get it. But anyway, Healing Spray is awesome because it's recover all the target's health, period. And then along with the reduced AT cast delay, along with the first aid and high purity healing potion, all that, this is such a great ability, and I prefer this as the single target heal, and you know, it just handles things like you saw with Liton there. But all the other sprays are amazing. The Vigor Recovery Spray, again, you know, that utility portion, if you run kind of, let's say, Hazing Sweeper with a Giselle Sniper, you know, some of the highest Vigor users in the game, this will come in handy quite often. Awakening Spray, kind of cool, less useful for Alchemist, because you can use an Excitement Potion to malfunction and force an overcharge anyway, and it'll be 0 cast delay for it. So, you know, could you take it? Sure. I think a Healing or Vigor Spray would be better, though. For general abilities, I recommend Healing Mist, Acidic Cloud, Spray Shoot, and Trance. I am running a physical attack build, but if you were to run an ESP build, you would probably want to throw in Ice Mist and Acidic Cloud together. There's certainly room for it here versus Grenadier. You know, in Grenadier, it's all about the damage, right? And you get no ESP power modifier on Spray Rain or on your basic attack. So I recommend that you go, you know, heavy attack power Spray Can. But on Alchemist, you can do an ESP build because it's going to improve your healing. You can see on Healing Mist there, 100% ESP, Acidic Cloud, 100% ESP, Ice Mist, 100% ESP. Just, you know, totally awesome. I just happen to be doing a physical build. Power Kick, again, this is more of like a meme kind of thing. Could you add it in? Sure. I just don't recommend it. You know, if you want knockback, then just use her Shaking Spray Can. That alone will take care of it. But, of course, Trance, one of the best abilities in the game, right up there with Sweeping Fire and Warming Up by Liton. Spray Shoot, classic staple, and this is pretty cool. So for shaking, every 3 attacks with the Mastery set, you're going to have the improved Pressure Can. So Spray Shoot is a nice in-between ability, and that's what I generally use it for. And then same thing with Acidic Cloud. And, you know, this is great as a follow-up attack. You know, in the beginning, either, you know, in the beginning of your turn, you want to do a Spray Shoot or you want to do a Shaking Pressured Can, whichever happens to be up. But after that, you know, if you've got weak targets or you want to kind of loosen up a boss with increased damage taken debuff, Acidic Cloud's not bad. And then, of course, having the ability to do area healing from Healing Mist, I think is actually mandatory on Ray. But of all these, I would say Acidic Cloud is probably the maybe, and you could swap that out for Ice Mist if you're more partial, or even Power Kick if you were so inclined. And then, of course, you have no choice on the Overcharge ability, but Spray Rain is one of the most nuts abilities in the game, especially from all the damage modifiers that it gets, and can't go wrong with it. Alright, and we have the stats, individual masteries, and equipment page. Lots to go over. So, Vivacious, you'll see good use out of this in the very beginning when you first get raid due to the vigor increase. And this can have amazing effect on maps such as 47 Violent, where frogs will have impulse fields combined with curse, giving you tons of different mental debuffs and whatnot. What I don't like about this is that, let's say a frog puts you to sleep, Bookworm is still going to clear all debuffs from you on turn start. So, you know, it's just not, it's just a little subpar, but you know, it does have specific uses. Expansion pack, this is probably what was intended for Alchemist, and this is excellent for any kind of heavy user of the Healing Vigor Awakening sprays. But I find it less useful because, again, they take away that second slot on Grenadier and just give one slot to Alchemist. It just doesn't make sense, and I think that's a legitimate design flaw. And so I still do recommend Graffiti on both Grenadier and Alchemist. Damaging a target removes all buffs. This is devastating on anything that lives and far more useful on Alchemist versus Grenadier, where Grenadier has consistent heavier damage than Alchemist, versus Alchemist usually comes up short after that first turn of UCC. For stats, Rey is most certainly a mid-row fighter. This means that, she is not a tank, but she's also not squishy like the black mages. She should be in the mid-row because of her bonding slots. Again, that's a major portion of Rey, regardless of the class that you play. So she does have mid-row kind of stats, which is really cool. She's not going to go down in 1 or 2. She can't tank for you, but, she'll take a little bit of a beating. Attack power, nothing to really write home about. Hit chance, I do believe Rey has the highest hit chance rate in the entire game. I didn't even really go out of my way to increase this, and obviously she's gaining a lot from Great Scholar Mastery, but, even on top of this, she's the only one in the game that can go instantly into Overcharge on her own. In fact, she has 2 ways to do it in case Trance is down. You could do a Make Chemical Concoction and then Excitement Potion herself to go in it again. And of course, that Overcharge will then feed into Spirit SP, which of course will increase her hit chance. So really, Rey is the most accurate character in this game, and if you're missing with her, there's a problem for sure. Crit chance, pretty good, 64. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that's going into the background. Crit damage, this is where she needs a lot of love, especially if you're trying to make her into a Alchemist damage dealer. Okay armor, okay resistance, okay block, okay dodge. She is literally a mid-row fighter, and it's perfect. Gearing, so this is probably the most complicated portion of Alchemist and or possibly any other class that I can think of. Rey, it's ultimately what you want her to be. I would just say keep 2 major things in mind. 1, speed, always important, but particularly important for a class that can do everything. I don't want to say she's jack of all trades because she can't tank, but she's pretty darn close to jack of all trades, and so getting full use out of her really means getting her to have more turns, and that's why I went into that rant about 1 shot 1 kill. But if you want more damage, you'll want to do Black Iron Flame Boots for the critical hit damage, and then let's say Hansen Suit for the critical hit damage. That'll give you a bonus 60% and put this up to about 240%, which is pretty awesome. If you want more speed, consider the Bonaparte bracelet from Sanson. This one's giving 20 speed, and it's just, in general, you do want her really fast. And Alchemist, no matter how you build her, does tend to be pretty darn slow. I've actually focused a lot into speed, and I still only managed to get to 122. But regardless of the path that you take, I do recommend the Arms Alchemy 3 set, and you guys got to see that short, well, it wasn't short, but that clip with Hazing and her using the Healing Mist and the AT and the First Aid Kit, and just all that stuff feeds in really well. I really like the 3 set bonus. 2 set bonus is okay, but the 3 set is really where it's at. And again, weapon. Very important. This will decide your attack slot. So Shaking Shot, Wind Pressure, 100% attack power. If you throw on a Ice Spray, that's going to turn into Ice Element. And, it's just the gearing for her is so complicated. Of course, one of the most important factors to Alchemist is your potion selection. And you will get 2 slots thanks to a mastery called Alchemy Bag, I believe, not the actual gearing slot. But you'll be able to select 2 potions, and as far as I know, there are 5 potions with side effects and malfunctions. First is going to be Sleeping Potion, which will then trigger Hibernate. Obviously not too useful, at least not that I can immediately think of, maybe for a monster or pet you're trying to level. Second will be Frenzy Potion, and this is going to trigger Rampage. This has kind of an undiscovered area so far, and I've played around a little bit with this, but you know, ultimately the Rampage AI is very dumb, but she can force Rampage on characters other than herself, sometimes creating very interesting situations. So I do think that's kind of an undiscovered ability right now. She can also do Regeneration Potion, which will then give Recover full health. This is just kind of covered by Healing Spray, but you could do like Vigor Spray with this if you wanted to as your healing or form of single target healing to max health. And then the two that I find and I use regularly that are very good is the Excitement Potion, which of course will malfunction into Overcharge. Totally awesome, especially on characters that burn through Vigor. And then Giant Potion as well. You're actually going to get a massive bonus to dodge, decreased threat, additional speed, and all you're going to suffer is one movement. It's basically going to mini your character. It's pretty cool and very useful, especially on Ray and Leeton. Of course, Ray has Quick Reaction, Leeton has Acrobat, and you can get some seriously awesome use out of this on both of them. And we have the Mastery board. This is the Arcanum build, which quite literally means secret in Latin, if I remember right. So, as always, feel free to pause, take a look, take a gander, see what you would keep, see what you would throw out. I will say, Alchemist has 3 main paths, so don't take this board as law or anything. The 3 main paths, of course, being damage, which she can certainly do, as you saw on the Cruel Challenge of Dalsu and his entire team, dead in one single shot. She can also do support, like you saw with Hazing, you know, giving Overcharge. She can also do healing, like I showed. So there's 3 main paths, and you can alter the board for her, and it can drastically change how she plays, such as if you don't want to use Anne as White Mage and you'd rather her on Witch, you know, you can dedicate the board to healing by filling in, you know, more ESP willpower and like an ESP spray can, for example. But all that said, for core offensive masteries, we're going to be taking Shake It, Shake It. Of course, this is going to take shaking from every 4 attacks to have a upgraded shaking shot to every 3 attacks. This is just awesome, and you know, when you're cycling this with Spray Shoot, that means you're only going to have 1 turn where you're going to have like either a basic attack or Acidic Cloud or something like that. And honestly, that's a good turn to use to heal with. You know, you want to kind of alternate, and you know, cycling is kind of a big deal for Alchemist in if you want to maximize her use. We're also going to be taking Passion for Gold, and similar to Shake It, Shake It, this is going to increase your UCC rate. So you know, Shake It, Shake It will have a quick reaction increase as well as start of every turn increase. And then Passion for Gold is also going to give an additional 2 at the start of every turn. So you can really stack UCC very fast. You just can't replenish it mid-fight like you could on CMP. But on top of that, it's also going to buff Equivalent Exchange. So of course, Equivalent Exchange is her class mastery, and it's going to activate at a chance of 25% anytime you receive loot. Now, whenever you do, you will, if you do roll Equivalent Exchange, then you can trigger a random buff. This is going to push that up by 50%, which is just awesome. And more buffs is going to be more damage, more defenses, more stats in general on Ray, and this is just an amazing ability. And then, of course, the classic staple, one shot, one kill. Alchemist has a lot to do in a very short period of time. Usually in my turn, she's both killing and healing, and that's only possible because of this. And for core defensive masteries, we're going to be taking Bookworm. Bookworm is just absolutely nuts. At the start of your turn, removes all debuffs, period. And then even further, removing a debuff will grant Excitement. This is one of the best abilities in the game, and honestly, having this on something like forced melee units such as Albus or Lisa would be amazing. But unfortunately, this is a Scholar thing, but absolutely awesome, and you really can't go wrong with this, and getting the Excitement boost on top of it is just absolutely nuts. It's also going to, feed into your dodge and block with educational book for any currently applied masteries that are not of class type, which is really great. And, of course you can stack that as necessary as you want. But for the most part, this is what makes Rey kind of a mid-row fighter. She's no tank, but she's no black mage either. And she can definitely take a hit or two without, just folding and collapsing immediately. And we're also going to be taking Pierce through the battlefield. Of course, this will be your lightning reflexes. This is a staple for Rey pretty much in any build, any class. It's also going to have quick reaction, which of course works in tandem with lightning reflexes. Guaranteeing that dodge will then basically give her action time reduction of 15. And of course, Pierce through the battlefield also just in general is going to give you a chance to win, and it's going to stack very fast. If you're running with her, you're going to trigger it. Your quick reaction with her, you're going to trigger it. You're going to lightning reflex with her, you're going to trigger it. If you lightning reflex, you're going to trigger quick reaction automatically. It's going to give you the that bonus to speed and move, and this is just such a great ability. All right, and we have a quick defensive showcase I want to show you guys. Rey will always have surprising benefits on Alchemist. So we're on 50 Violent Cruel Challenge here, and I'm just putzing around trying things out. Did a 10 stack shaking there, and we're going to go ahead and do Spray Shoot to kind of clear out a lot of the stuff that's in here. So Rey is at about 1500 health at the moment. And this guy's going to come up, he's going to miss, and it's going to trigger the Ranger, which is going to do fire support. Of course, that's going to miss as well, and that's going to trigger lightning reflexes because of it, as well as Pierce to the battlefield. So keep in mind, she's stacking chance to win all throughout this as well. But because both of those missed, you can see each, the dodge from him and the dodge from him is 30 AT. So she's going to go from 43 AT down to 13 almost immediately, which is just totally awesome for off-turn cooldowns, obviously. This Bifront's going to lay into her, and I'd like to point out, this is that mid-row defenses. There is there is such a thing between a tank and a black mage, and this is basically it. So, you don't see any crits on here. She blocks some of these, she dodged some of these, she will get quick reaction for at least, one of the dodges. But she's starting to get low. She's now down to 1100 now, which is about half health at the moment. Sniper follows up doing about 500, so now she's starting to definitely get low at 500 health, right? And right when she's going to get up because of that quick reaction on the Bicron, she actually gets full UCC stacks. To the point where she detonates. Now, this is good and bad. The good is that she actually stunned this sniper over here. The bad is that she stunned herself. And generally, if you see a scenario like this, that means that your character is dead. 400 health, no backup. I'm just putzing around. No backup, and they're basically going to be screwed. So this ranger's going to come in, and he's going to unload on her and basically kill her, except that earlier, she triggered Immortality, which of course you guys would probably know best from Barbarian on Elisa, and that means she's going to go down to 1 health, and she's not going to die until Immortality wears off. This of course is an actual possibility on Equivalent Exchange. It does happen more often than you might think. And so now she's basically invulnerable until she gets her turn up, which is really weird. So they're just going to keep on loading on her. Bicron over here, a couple misses, couple crits there. Doesn't really matter at this point. And guess what? Again, she blows up because she's been stacking UCC this whole time. And so now she's stunned herself again, but her AT is decreasing faster and faster because of the misses and the dodges. So she actually gets up, and this is where it gets really neat. A normal character, if you had lost immortality at this point, you would die to bleeding or poison or magic backflow or, name whatever stat ability that you want to get. She has Bookworm. Bookworm, of course, is going to clear every debuff that she has. So currently, Rey is basically a weird version of Elisa Barbarian. And of course, she's converted some of this stuff as well. This is crazy. So I don't know. It's just to watch this kind of stuff on Rey is insane. And even if you were to take Rey and okay, yeah, she's at 1 health. I'm gonna put her in this corner over here. and then have her do a healing spray on herself. This is how this is going to happen. This ranger is going to Overwatch fire. She's going to dodge it because she got her lightning reflexes back up for having her turn again. The sniper, who would have normally finished her off, is stunned because of the flame explosion that she created. Alchemist is wild, man. It's just a crazy class, and you can have so much fun with this. And we have the core support masteries. So we're going to be taking modified potion. This is very excellent. Of course, this is going to force your side effects and malfunctions. You saw that with hazing, overcharging him, and killing both the Destrons. Just totally awesome. And I would say if you want to kind of focus Ray, the support path should be your backup. So, of the three paths, damage, healing, and utility is very easy to incorporate with modified potion. So, you could go primarily DPS and then modified potion and just stick with those two. Or you could go, fully healing and then modified potion and be able to spread everything out in a more focused manner as opposed to going through all three like I have here. But honestly, this board does do really well. We're also going to be taking high purity healing potion. Of course, this is going to be the removing physical debuffs and granting random buffs, and this is particularly cool because it works on healing mist. So, Ray can do area heal along with area removing buffs, kind of similar to Anne's White Mage, and this is just awesome in general. And then, of course, we're going to be taking Shikuchi. This is awesome for a lot of reasons, but it really kind of sits home at what Alchemist needs more than anything else, which is a high speed and a high move rate. High speed, obviously, so that she can get to do all the things that I just showed you guys. And then a high move distance, because if you're going to be using her sprays to heal, such as the healing spray, or even the vigor spray, for hazing or Giselle or, what have you, you need to be very close to them, which is very different than on Anne's White Mage, where you can heal from a distance. And then also honorable mention to Earnest Researcher. So you guys saw me explode there in the defensive showcase, and that's because she hit the level 10 maximum limit for UCC. However, Earnest Researcher can actually expand that by 5 up to 15, and then the alchemy bag itself can expand it even further into 20. And I would just say that 10 feels a little low, and it's very easy to detonate yourself with, which is unfortunate. 20 is very high. There's been maybe once or twice where I've gotten close to, let's say 18 or 19 stacks. The sweet spot seems to be about 15, but, I'll leave that up to you guys to decide whatever is more comfortable for you. And then this is very interesting. I just found this out, I don't know, maybe a month or so ago. Great Scholar is cool because it's going to take one training point and basically feed into all of your stats. And then Earnest Researcher is actually going to take the highest of those 5 and then multiply it by 2. So at the current moment, my highest slot here is 15 out of 15. You can see basic 13, attack 12, support 9, defense 6. So Great Scholar is going to give hit chance by 1% on ability, so 15 points, 15% hit chance, and then Earnest Research is going to double that, which is pretty neat. And so if we go to hit chance, you can see Great Scholar plus 30%. Totally awesome. Well, that actually works on every property limit. So an example, if we were to take out Long Toss, now we're at 13 out of 13 with basic. Being able to max it, you'll actually get the benefits of both. So an example, for basic, you're going to get health increase by 8. Times 13 would be 104. Times 2 would be 208. And then, of course, for the hit chance, we're now going to be at 13. Times 2 would be 26. So you're actually going to get the 26% hit chance you see there. And because, the health attribute is of this, or the basic attribute is of the same, you can see that 208. It's just totally crazy, and there's quite a few masteries in the game that do this. And I wanted to show you guys on drone, and I want to do this on the drone build, but this just seems the right time to do it. It's going to have compatibility augmentation. So this is going to increase your health, your speed, your armor resistance based on the same exact concept, and then compatibility optimization is also going to multiply it by 2. And you guys see I've got 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. it's going to double all of these. And I'm just showing this out of reference, but for quick math, you can see for support, speed will increase by 1 per training point. There's 7 training points, so it should be 7. And then reinforcement's going to increase armor resistance by 10 times 7, so 70. Instead, you're going to see the speed increase by 2 to 14, and the armor and resist increased by 140. And this can obviously get very out of hand if you were to kind of focus a board around that. All right, let's do a quick alternative mastery set. So if you're going for a more damage-based alchemist, Penetrate the Sky, of course, is very nice. It's that additional block shred, and Ray can get incredible block shred thanks to Trance and Sharp Spirit, Extreme Will, throwing on Golden Mane. If you wanted to throw in Breakthrough and then Penetrate the Sky, you can easily hit well over 100 block shred. So it's pretty crazy. I tend to use her in the sense of killing soft targets on Alchemist and then healing. Hard targets should probably be killed by a dedicated DPS, such as Albus or Hazing. And then for utility positioning, this of course is great on Grenadier as well, and it's still great on Alchemist. Position of advantage, concentration for the crit chance, bonus damage per tile, either 4 and away for blind spot, and so close yet so far. Very excellent. And surprisingly, Golden City is not bad for combat, believe it or not, on this particular build. So even though on farming, so for sure on farming, it's absolutely excellent, but even on normal combat, having these extra items to increase drop chance is going to increase your chance of equivalent exchange. Equivalent exchange is then going to give you more buffs, and generally when it starts converting, it's going to give you like a blue item, which is going to give you AT decrease, which you obviously can use at any time. Purples will give you random buffs, and legendary will give you a heal. And otherwise you'll get a vigor recovery. But this is not terrible even in normal combat. It's just not ideal. And then defensively, swift footwork of course is really good. I think I mentioned this for the alternative on Grenadier as well. Stacking AT off turn cooldown and stuff like that. This would take quick reaction plus swift footwork would be 35 AT for a lightning reflex dodge, which is just totally awesome. And then finally, Escape Death is actually very good on her. Keep in mind, Trance automatically starts Overcharge, and if you guys go through a lot of this episode or this video, you're going to see luck all the time with her, and she's not even running Argonaut where you can increase the chance of triggering luck. It's very odd. I don't want to say that like this is almost a guaranteed 70%, with a lightning reflex trigger. And then, if you do Overcharge again, that's 100%. So Escape Death is actually very good on Alchemist, and very good if you guys like to make kind of dicey decisions like I like to do. And we have the showcase here. This is actually not using the Arcanum build. This is like the build right before, and there isn't too many different changes, just slight tweaks. But the idea is to get a rough idea of exactly how this will fight. So right here, we've got Anne, Hazing, and Irene, and you saw Irene is basically up front. She's in the right position to be tanking for everybody on Battle Mage at the moment. And so Irene attacks this, leader Spider. Spider decides to go up, grab Hazing, and drop him down. So now, unfortunately, Irene's a bit out of tanking position. She was guarding kind of this area and forcing zone of control. Now, because of what the Spider did, she's pushed up there. There is an opening down here. Units from this side can come down. And, of course, Hazing is now stunned with Neurotoxin on him. And on top of that, of course, he's standing on Spiderweb, which is nasty. And you can see, on top of, the Neurotoxin and the stun, now he's bleeding and he's got Corrosive Poison. And you can see that this is just a bad situation as a whole. And, Irene is still taking some of these, but not all of them. So this is where Ray comes in. So we're actually going to move right up, and this is what I was talking about as far as rotation. So, you know, it looks like this is the beginning of her rotation, meaning she doesn't have shaking up, but she does have spray shoot up. So for the first shot here, we're going to do a spray shot right into the middle of this. And, you know, so she's going to take out a few. Impulse Field's going to trigger on the frog, so he's going to live. She's still got Overcharge up. Notice shaking is still not up, so now we're on turn 2, and this is the hardest turn to usually go through. So I'm actually going to use Spray Rain right here just to make sure I get a one-shot, one kill. And it ends up working on this guy, which is awesome. And so now you can see Shaking Shot is now open, or, you know, released, and this is great for exactly where Irene is, and this is also going to clear the webbing around her to help her tank. Now that is clear, and I've kind of cycled her entire rotation, now we can take care of Hazing. So we're going to go ahead and do the Healing Mist, and all those debuffs that he had are all now completely cleared. Bleeding, neurotoxin, you know, corrosive poison, etc., etc. She's going to be giving an AT increase, but most importantly, she's going to be clearing stun. And so Hazing is currently on Sweeper, and, you know, as Irene's tanking here, some do get through, but because he's on Sweeper, he's back to covering for the rest of the party in kind of the mid-row here. And this is just generally what you can see Ray do at the mid-row level, kind of helping kill and helping heal the party at the same time.
Alright guys, that wraps up this video. Alchemist is all about using the right ability for the right scenario, and that may be difficult. I do consider it to be the advanced class between this and Grenadier. Grenadier, when it comes down to it, is just really fast and high damage potential, whereas Alchemist is very much situational based. You know, does somebody need to heal? Should you be damage dealing? How many stacks of UCC do you have at the current moment? You know, is Ray's damage less compared to a dedicated damage dealer where you could just overcharge Hazing or overcharge Albus to deal more damage? It really depends on the moment, and I don't know if every player will find that too complicated or, you know, not worth the hassle, but make no mistake, Alchemist is crazy good. The damage is still there just on that first turn, and learning to cycle kind of spray, shoot, and shaking is also a very big part of Alchemist. It's a crazy class. This is a class I think I'll be using for a while just to fully understand it. But hopefully this video was helpful to you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Follow me on YouTube and Twitch, and until next time.